Hello, my name is Dakota, and these are my design journals. Today I'm going to be talking about This Place is Cursed, an adventure game I'm currently making in the PlayStation game editor Dreams, released by Media Molecule. This video is going to be a little different than my previous journals because I haven't actually released this game. I'm going to focus less on feedback and iteration, as the only play feedback I have so far is from the team working on the game. Instead, I'm going to focus on my design pillars. I use these pillars to inform the holistic design of the game. When tackling large games like this, I often find myself discovering new problems I hadn't anticipated during initial design and planning. I believe game design is often a matter of weighing the pros and cons of various solutions to these emergent problems. I use design pillars as my guiding principles in order to resolve problems consistently and create a harmony between various design elements. My first design pillar is practical magic. At its core, This Place is Cursed is a witch simulator. Video games often live somewhere on a spectrum between simulation and abstraction, and this game's magic system pushes more towards the former. I wanted to make a game whose magic system was more involved than simply press X to fireball. Instead, the player must explore a haunted house and discover magical components and clues, which are noted in the book, a note-keeping UI to help the player remember their discoveries. Spellcasting requires the player inputs runes into specific positions in a radial spellcasting HUD. The player must deduce the correct combination of runes and positions by studying the clues they have discovered that are notated in their spellbook. For example, the player can find their first rune, Circa, by solving a puzzle that requires no magic. Then, they can find a few clues that describe which runes go into which position in order to produce the flame spell. Practical magic not only means the spells are cast practically, but that they have practical effects too. The spells should always affect the world in consistent and intuitive ways. There's a fair bit of complexity on the front end of this magic system, and so the outcomes of the player's efforts should be rewarded in ways that they expect. For example, once the player discovers the flame spell, they can light candles. All candles. Everywhere in the game. My second design pillar is Everything's a Toy. I believe that the best games and features hyper-target a particular audience. This Place is Cursed is made to satisfy curious players above all else. And so, it was important to me that this game rewarded curiosity at every opportunity. If there's a waterfall, you better believe I'm putting a reward behind it. This design ethos extends to everything in the game. If you see something interesting or weird, you can probably interact with it, either with a simple button prompt interaction, or by casting magic. Some toys are simply visual, allowing you to play with them by walking around them, like these statues that always seem to follow you as you wander through the garden. Or these lanterns that are just kind of fun to knock around. Larger puzzles throughout the game also have toy-like qualities to them. The player is able to poke and prod at them before they necessarily understand what they're intended to do. I think this creates fun moments of exploration and curiosity, and eventually leads to aha moments as the player realizes how applying their magic, or other verbs, will help them solve these puzzles. My final pillar is fantastic locations. I picked this idea up from a Dungeons & Dragons YouTuber I really admire, Sly Flourish. His go-to example to illustrate this concept is, if you have a combat encounter planned to take place in a warehouse in the docks of Baldur's Gate, why not stick a dragon skeleton in that warehouse? Maybe the rogues there are selling pieces of it on the black market. And maybe the skeleton will occasionally emit a fear aura, a typical combat ability that dragons have in D&D. This creates a more interesting combat encounter rooted in the top-down fantasy of the black market skeleton. In This Place is Cursed, I tried to make memorable points of interest that were flavorful and had practical magic mechanics that were aligned with the fantasy. You can find a lunar observatory that houses a large environmental puzzle. There's an ancient tree in the garden that attracts glowing insects that help you navigate the never-ending haunted forest. An abyssal rift that sucks reality into its core. Even the rain's fall is warped and bent. Memorable POI aren't just for fun, they also serve an important role in helping the player to navigate. I tried to make my locations distinct so the player can form a mental model of the play space in This Place is Cursed. Here's a spot where the player can see across the water over to this porch that has a distinctive fireplace on it. The player might remember this spot when they find other fireplaces that match its look elsewhere in the house. And then when they discover the gameplay connection that exists between them, they've solved the puzzle and made progress. With these 3 pillars, This Place is Cursed invites players to explore the game space, be curious, and be rewarded for their curiosity. With these pillars encouraging curiosity-driven gameplay, I buried a lot of secrets throughout the game and expect Explorer-type players to have a lot of fun discovering them. And that's it. That's This Place is Cursed and its design pillars. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.